everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And today I'd like to work with some more of my scraps, and it's kind of a gloomy day outside, kind of windy, looks like it's going to be raining. And whenever I have a day like that, the color pink always seems to make me feel better. So today I am working only with my pink scraps. So I took out my scrap organizer page that is primarily pinks, and I have a video on how I made this, so I'll link that at the end. And I thought what I would do is use some of the scraps from here and some of the flower pages from this book that I got at the thrift store. So why don't I go ahead and pick some out, and then we can get started. So what my thought is, because I have some of these copy dyed papers that are kind of on the small side, along with these, I would make some little mini notebooks that I can tuck inside some journals. So I've got that, and then I also brought along some of my jars of different colored laces, and most of these are neutral colors, whites and beiges, and then I have some pink ones here as well. Okay, so I thought I would work with some that would lend themselves well to making little notebooks out of, and so I've got these. So I have this organizer arranged in such a way that I have some of the bigger ones inside this little pocket here, and I'm just going to pull out a few and see what I can do with them. And all of these are double-sided, I think. This is some paper that I used some beet powder that I dissolved in water, and then dyed some paper in it and used a big plastic doily on top of it to make a pattern, and then I copied it onto both sides of just some regular copy paper, so I would always have the pattern, which I really like. So I'm just kind of looking to see. So okay, so this one doesn't have any printing on the other side of it. Neither does this, and neither does this. So since these do, I will set these aside because I won't need to put anything on the inside of them. And then I thought what I could do maybe is to use this paper to cover the inside, or maybe even this one. I could use this on the inside of that because I like those colors together. And then maybe this one on the inside of here. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so in order to make my life easier, instead of using glue to do this, I'm going to use my Xyron. This is my 9-inch Xyron, and you can use glue, whatever you have, but I want to just get this done as soon as possible. And I also like this because it doesn't warp the paper. Okay, I'll just pull this film off of here and then pull it off the backing paper. And now I have this that I can just put my paper on. It's a good idea to leave yourself some extra around the edges, but it would be nice if I had another little piece that I could put in this section so I don't waste that. I can use some of that piece. And also, it is a good idea to take a brayer, if you have one, just to make sure that all the edges are secured. Now the cartridges for the Xyrons come in a lot of different modes, I guess, or variety of different types of cartridges, so you can get them with removable adhesive, or repositionable, I guess is the word for it. You can buy magnets, you can buy laminating cartridges, So they're really versatile, and the cartridges are super easy to install. They're a little bit pricey on Amazon, but I have found cartridges at thrift stores, Value Village and Goodwill, sometimes at the local community thrift stores. So they can be had. They're, not out of reach. So if you're interested in Xyrons, they come in all different sizes. I even have this little one, little creative sticker, so you just put something through here and it comes out and you just peel off the backing and you've got a sticker. So I really like my Xyrons. I've had them forever. I first started kind of collecting them. You used to be able to get them at Michael's, but we've had conversations about Michael's, about how they really don't seem to have a lot of crafting supplies anymore, it seems. I don't know why. But anyway, they don't carry any Xyron stuff anymore, but you can still find them on Amazon, which is always good. Maybe that's why they don't carry stuff like that anymore, because they've been undercut, maybe because everybody's buying things off of Amazon. I've especially noticed since the pandemic that their supplies of crafting stuff is really low. And their baskets, oh my goodness, I used to love to get baskets at Michael's, but they don't even hardly carry any baskets anymore. They used to have shelves and shelves of them, so whenever they'd have big sales or get coupons in the mail, the baskets were something I like to get for different things. But no more. Now I just get them at thrift stores. I get coupons in the mail or email, vouchers and sale notices for Michael's, but it's a long ways away from my house, so it's hardly worth us going there at all. Okay, and I want to put this on this page too, so I'm going to put this piece through the Xyron and then lay it on, and then I'll have some double-sided paper there. And does this have a direction? It does, but I'm going to say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There, I said it. Okay, so now I'm going to take out my trimmer. It's going to be easier, I think, to trim straight using this. And I'm going to ink or round the corners on these. Okay, so my next step is inking all of them, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and use Vintage Photo. So this is a scrap busting and mask making project. I love to tuck little notebooks into a journal, because that way whoever ends up with the journal has something that they can take out and maybe tuck into their purse or just whatever. I'm not super excited about this side of the paper. This is some old scrapbook paper, and it's not super thin, but it's not exactly cardstock either. But the double-sided paper all seems to be a little bit thicker, It probably has to be in order to take a print on both sides. So I'm going to turn off the camera while I'm inking because inking is boring. Alright, so now that I have all of these inked, I want to find the center point on each one of these so that I can score it right in the center. So I just use my mat for this. I just find the center point by making it even on both sides, both ends, and make a little mark so I know where to put it. Now this one, I don't really want to cover up these roses with anything on the front, so I'm going to make this be the inside and use this for the outside and embellish it. I've got the center there, and of course these are all going to be different sizes. This one, should I make this be the inside as well? Because I don't really want to cover this up. So yeah, so this will be the inside. I don't really care for this too much, so I might ink it more inside. And I like this blue print, but I'm doing pink today. Now I'm just going to score each one down the middle. Well, that one didn't get in the middle at all. Okay, well that's all right. I'll worry about that later. That's my Scarlet O'Hara. My Scarlet O'Hara philosophy. I won't worry about that now. I'll worry about that tomorrow. I'm just going to ink the outside of this and the inside just to kind of grunge it up just a little bit, tone down some of those colors. I still want the pink to show through, but I don't want it to be baby pink necessarily. And it's okay if they don't match up, you know, 100%. I mean, you can manipulate it a little bit. Let's do something like this and see what happens. We'll squirt it with some water. Okay, so I was working with this one that had this kind of plaid on the front and polka dots on the inside. And the more I worked with it, the grungier it started to become. So I'm just going to go with it. So I squirted some of this Wild Honey Distress Spray Stain on it. And now, because I used water and dried it and stuff, the fold is a little bit fragile. So what I'm going to do here is take some masking tape, and I'm going to kind of ink around the edges of the masking tape for however much I think I'm going to need, just to kind of give it a little bit of a grungy feel, if I can find the end. And let's see, I'm going to take it off of that backing sheet, line it up on a line here on my mat, and try to center the tape on it. And this is where I'm always having trouble. Okay, so I'm going to anchor it, I think, with that. Hopefully it'll stay. Okay, not exactly center, but I'll go with it. I'm going to put some on the inside too, and then that way that fold will be reinforced. And I'll just cover it with some washi tape. So this is serendipity in action. I think I'm going to cut that part off. Same with the one on the top, or whatever end that it happens to be, I don't really know. But we're just going to trim it. Put some washi tape on it as well. Okay, I have some of this burlap ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I want to have a little bit of a burlap embellishment here on the front. And I want to take the lace off. I'm also going to pull the wire out. Let's take my Fabri-Tac and put some glue on this burlap and plunk it on here. Before I put anything on top of there, I'm going to put some mushrooms on. Okay, I like those two. So let's find my bone folder and a little pokey tool. We'll try to make this work. Okay, it does seem to have loosened it a little bit. I'm going to put this little one right here. But there we go. Okay. Okay, and I wanted to add a little scrap of paper here too. So I'm going to ink around the edges and on the back a little bit. Might be a little bit big, so I'll just reduce it in size a little bit. I'm going to curl up the edges, kind of crumple them. And then I'll use, again, some of the Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to pull out my little stash of words here. Okay, how about believe? I'm going to pull out my little stash of flowers and butterflies. Oh, these are cute. Okay, let's get this word tacked down. Just use some art glitter glue. And I have this little frame that I punched out with a punch that I found at a thrift store or a garage sale or something. And I haven't used them yet, but I just punched it out of some scraps. And it just goes right around that word. So I'm just going to take a little bit of art glitter glue and just kind of tack these little crinkly edges down a little bit. Just kind of roll it if I can. Okay, I'm going to call this cover done, and put some paper in. I'm just taking some scraps of coffee dyed paper here and just randomly putting them in. I'm just going to tear a little bit off of this section. And we'll make a few more pages here. So we'll put this little butterfly, I want it somewhere, maybe on the last page, on the inside of the cover. So we'll just get rid of some of this little white spot there. I'm going to ink these edges up. And as you can see, my desk gets really messy when I'm playing with my scraps, or when I'm doing any project. It doesn't matter. I am a messy crafter, but that's when art happens, right? Just gotta kind of go with the flow. Definitely going with the flow with this little project. Okay, so this is definitely not exactly what I had in mind when I started this project, but like I said, this is how serendipity happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew this in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'll be right back with thread and a needle. Okay, so I just have a little bit of this black twine left, so I'm just gonna do 3 lengths of it and give it a snip. Thread it through a needle with a big eye, theoretically. And take my pokey tool and just put a hole in the center, a hole towards the bottom, and a hole towards the top. Now, did I want to cover the inside with, no, I'm just gonna leave it. Start in the center. Go through the top, down through the bottom, and then back through the center. And then I just even them up as best I can. Tail on either side. Tighten it up and a knot, another knot, and a bow. And there we have a scrappy little mini notebook to go inside somebody's little journal. So how fun is that? Okay, so I thought I would work with these two, and I'm just going to get the covers done. But I cut these 2 flowers out of this book, which is the dictionary of different flowers and plants. But to give it a little bit more structure and to give it a little bit of a background, I'm going to take it through my Xyron again and then attach it to this piece of very old newsprint that I copied onto a piece of paper. So I'll do that real quick. And I'm going to cut around this before I pull the backing sheet off, because I want to have some of the newsprint be kind of a little bit of a background, a border. That's the word I'm looking for, a border around these flowers. So if I glue the whole thing on or stick the whole thing on, this newsprint without tearing or without cutting it apart first, then I won't have any border. Makes it just a little bit harder to get the backing off, but I can deal with it. I like these particular flowers on these on this page because it has, whoops, that didn't work. Just folded under the scissor blade. Anyway, they have a black background or a really dark background, so it makes the flowers really stand out. Okay, so I've taken these flower pictures and adhered them to the newsprint and inked around the edges. And on this one, I'm going to just glue it down all the way, but this one I'm going to use it to make a pocket, probably like that. Okay, but on this one, I don't know if you can see this, but the paper on the spine is cracking. So I have a little bit more of the same paper, and I'm going to use it to cover the spine. But to give it a little bit more flexibility, I guess, I'm going to, first of all, adhere it to this double-sided fabric tape. Okay, so I'm going to put this tape on the back side of this paper. Just want to make sure that I have enough, so I'm just going to snip off the edge, or the end of it there, and then snip this, ink it, pull off the backing, and then just attach it over the spine like that. And then that should provide enough flexibility so that when I fold it, it's not going to crack this. That's my theory. Because it's a tape for fabric. All right. It's called Fabric Fusion. And even though this isn't fabric, it has a thickness to it. Oh, see, so that's so much better. Gives a little bit of a thickness. Okay, all right, I like that. So the next step, make sure I know which side is up. So this side is up, and I'm just going to glue that right onto the front, like so. And for this, I'm just going to use art glitter glue because my small Xyron doesn't currently have a cartridge in it, and I'm not going to waste the 9-inch Xyron on this. And then I also have this piece of lace that I wanted to glue to the front and have it wrap around the back. So I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac for that. Save that for another project. And I also have this little butterfly that I thought would look really cute, just like that. Just get some of these edges inked up. I think that's adorable. And then all I'll need to do is add some paper to the inside, which I'll do later. And this one I'm going to turn into a pocket. So I'm going to get out my circle punch. So I also have this little faux stamp that I made quite a long time ago, and I made it, I don't remember how this corner got torn off, but somehow it did. So I'm just going to put it kind of down here on the corner in the bottom. And then this cute little butterfly. Now for the tag, I have these paint chips, kind of going with the pink theme, and I think I'll use this one. Make sure it fits. Needs to be a little bit narrower, so I'm going to take my scoreboard trimmer, because I have a hard time cutting a straight line sometimes. Okay, that's about right. I'm going to take some of this coffee dyed paper and glue it to the back of this, so I have a backing that can be written on, and then I'm going to sew around it. So I'm just going to use some glue stick here. So I'm going to sew around it, and then I'm going to put a little tab top on it out of this lace here. So I'll be right back after I sew this on. Alrighty, so I've sewn around the tag, and I went ahead and sewed around the edges of these two covers as well. And what I'd like to do with this little tag is to put a fussy cut flower on it from this book, Wildflowers of North America. And this book has had the decency of its glue totally giving way so that the pages just fall out nice and neatly and evenly. So I'm going to take fussy cut around this little flower here and glue it onto the front of this tag. And I think it needs a word down here as well. So how about, one of my favorite words is consider. And I wonder if I have any more of those little frames. It's a little too long of a word to go inside this tiny frame. I do kind of like having it on here and then maybe using this one on top. Yeah. Okay. Let's cover up these white edges. And then I will hopefully get this glued on reasonably straight. That worked out pretty well. So I have this cute little frame that I can glue on. It's almost like a little tiny book plate. My husband found this stamp for me, I think at a garage sale, or a punch rather. And it punches 3 different little shapes. Okay, I love that. So there we go. Journal cover. Just ready for some paper to be added to it. So here we go. We have this scrappy little one, this really grungy one that turned out way differently than I expected it to, and I might still do some embellishing on the inside, but I just love the cover. And then I have these 2 covers, and I just really enjoyed using pink today. This is one of my favorite colors to you know, kind of brighten the day even when it's gloomy outside. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it gives you some inspiration to use some of the scraps that you have and just let the serendipity find you. So if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy crafting, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.